Hi, lovely.
Hi, Geeta.
You're looking wonderful. So, how have you been
How are
feeling?
you? I've been feeling good. Hope the same for you.
Yes.
You look good.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. So, as we discussed, today I'd like to interview Shiva, and if Erik is here, hi to Erik.
Yes, yes, he
Erik,
is.
I love you, Erik. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you so much.
He says you're welcome, and he's almost, how they bow down.
I
He's
know.
showing all those funny gestures. Yeah,
Okay. I'm
he's
sure.
quite
Excited. I'm sure he's going to learn quite a bit about Hindu mythology and Hindu deities from us.
That's
Yeah,
exactly what he was speaking now. That
yeah.
I get to, go on that side of the knowledge.
Yes, yeah.
Hindu deities and stuff.
Yeah, we'll begin with the deities to clarify my personal doubts and probably some of my friends' doubts. Not that we discuss these things a lot with friends. So these are mostly my doubts for which I would love some clarifications. And then eventually we'll go on to how our great temples of Tamil Nadu and let's say the whole of India were built. So we'll probably take up, topics like that
Okay.
eventually. Yeah. So in the meantime, today I'm so excited because Shakti is the most favorite deity. I connect with her a lot and I love her. And Shiva would be my second most favorite. Um, okay, so let's call in Shiva and Shakti together.
Okay. As soon as you said that, I was like, oh, this is gonna be too much of energy
I
because
know.
the word Shiva, I'm not religious though,
Yes,
but
I know.
as soon as you said that, both of them, because Shakti in itself, the word in itself,
Yes,
which
power,
means strength, power,
energy.
yes, in the meaning. Also, it has a certain um, energetic field like every other word in the dictionary, and what it refers to, what it means, that huge feminine energy,
Yes,
if
yes.
that makes sense. So both of them together, I can feel this very huge, vast, beautiful energy.
So our houses are going to be so high in vibration today, right?
Yes, yes.
I'm thrilled.
So,
Yeah.
um, uh, I guess we have Shiva stepping in.
First.
He is the one. Yeah, he's the one who's wanting to speak first. Almost like he's obviously. I'm referring to he, and because I'm feeling a masculine energy, not because of the way he's being depicted,
Yeah.
but he's more of strength and physical power, if you mean so. So that's what his energy is like. And I'm getting all those images that I already have, not being a medium, like as a girl who's been
Yes.
brought up Hindu, but he's clarifying. Oh, he's speaking so fast. Actually, he's like, it's sort of like a telepathic. So he's giving me images and words and all
Yeah.
that. I hope I'm making sense though, Geeta.
Yeah.
He's showing me his face, which has a lot of innocence, which is not generally the case when Shiva is depicted.
Shiva is
Because
also known as Karunakara. So he's the embodiment
oh,
of compassion, Karuna, compassion.
so that makes sense. Yes,
Yes.
because his face, he's bringing my attention to his face. This energy who's there here, and it's almost like Erik is also watching him and trying to observe this energy, like
Yes.
with us.
Yes.
Sort of like he's even Erik is curious about what we are gonna discover. So that's his face, and what he's speaking about is, I'm here to clarify things today, maybe clear out a lot of misconceptions about about a lot of Hindu deities.
Wonderful.
So he says, thank you for
Thank
reaching
you.
out.
Namaste, Shiva. I love you. You know that. I love you, Shiva. Yes.
He has a very cute laughter. He's like a happy, like a joyful laughter.
I know. Loving, right? Yes. I can feel his energy too. The love. I can feel it here. Yeah.
Yes.
So let's begin at the beginning. During our last interview with souls, we learned that, Shiva is not source. Because some Hindus would call source as Shiva, just as how they would, another sect of Hindus would call source as Narayana or Vishnu. Yeah. And then
sorry to interrupt you, Geeta. He's actually just correcting you. He says, I am not only source, or source is not only me.
Okay. Okay. Got
like how we have parts of source, and
yes, I get it.
Only that.
Yeah,
yes,
we have source in us.
Yes.
So we were told that Shiva is a separate entity, just as how you and I are, only that he is a lot more divine than you and I, because he has proven his divinity. Did he incarnate on the earth plane? Is he an ascended master? Did he incarnate?
Yes, I got a yes.
When?
Several lifetimes I'm getting, human incarnation.
Yeah. So all those stories about Shiva are true then, because, over several lifetimes he married Shakti, different forms of Shakti. Like Meenakshi, he married one time, Sati, he married another time. So Parvati, is that correct, our understanding?
He's actually saying yes and no, meaning the stories that were depicted about me, some of them were true, some of them were his true lifetimes. Also, he has had many lifetimes which people didn't know that he was this divine entity.
Okay.
He was just like, obviously, because he wanted to experience that human physical life.
Yes.
So he was not this, like a divine entity. He was just like us, you and me. Whether he was a man or a woman or from a poor background, or he's also showing me like once he was a farmer who was all about growing food and meeting his ends.
Okay.
So he wants to clarify. It was, he says, my life was not all that divine, on earth, he says.
Yeah, but we love you. Okay, which part of the earth? Was it always India or other parts of earth too?
Wow, this is, he said Middle East.
Wow, okay.
India is definitely there. Middle East, and he's showing me a lot of islands, like places near the sea. I'm not sure which part of the world. I'm asking for further, because he's showing me the sea and the seashore.
Bali, Indonesia, Sri Lanka.
Yes, something of that sort.
The map.
Let me see if I can get it in writing, if a particular.
Okay.
Okay, this is weird. I'm very bad at geography, so I have to be very frank here. Does Indonesia, does its border or somewhere near that, the countries around it have a desert also? Because he's showing me at one point a desert and a sea. So either he had lifetimes at both places, but I don't know whether there is a desert near Indonesia.
We'll
I
check it
don't
out
think so.
later. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, right.
Although Indonesia is, the majority of Indonesians used to be Hindus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that makes sense. Maybe it came from ancestral knowledge.
Okay.
Yes.
So when he lived in India, what languages did he speak? If he had had several lifetimes, what languages did he speak? Sanskrit, Tamil?
He was saying that was from a lifetime when the number of languages were very few in the country.
Okay, all right.
So it could be quite a long time ago. He mentions Maharashtra, though.
Okay.
And he also says the Marathi, the language of Maharashtra,
okay.
was very different then. It was. I don't know from which dialect Marathi has come.
It's come from one of the Dravidian dialects, if I'm not mistaken. So Proto-Dravidian.
Okay, so he's almost explaining like now it is more similar to Hindi, and certain things can make sense if a person speaks slowly.
Yes.
I mean, we can make sense of at least some of it. We can grasp it, even though we do not know the language. But earlier it was more pure.
Of course.
He's using the word pure.
Yeah.
So maybe it was close to the dialect which it came from. Okay. So that was one language that he spoke. He's also mentioning southern parts of India. And also, and again, he's mentioning Urdu.
Oh, okay.
When wow, that is like, I mean, amazing. When he had a lifetime in the Middle East, maybe I don't know exactly if it's Urdu or Arabic. I don't know what is spoken in most of the Middle East. So but he mentioned Urdu though.
They are two different language families, Urdu and Arabic. Two different. Well,
so is Arabic more in Middle East?
That's what I think. Probably, I'm not sure. Anyway, I'll do some research. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's mentioning again, he's clarifying that almost none of these lifetimes were in the recent 100 years.
Of course, yeah.
So obviously the languages must have blended in, traveled.
Evolved. Yeah, they have evolved and
evolved, yes.
Yeah. So because the Tamils believe that he headed the first ever Tamil Sangam, which is the Tamil conference, which took place probably 9,000 years ago to 5,000 years before Christ. In a place called Madurai, but that place has been consumed by the sea today. That's what's believed.
Okay.
So was he really
Maybe that's
there?
the sea that he mentioned.
Yeah.
Because he showed me islands. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So but was he really the chairman of the first Tamil Sangam? Because there are several disputes. Some believe that it was Sage Agastya who chaired the first Tamil Sangam, and some believe it was Shiva, and some believe it was Lord Muruga.
He's actually laughing. He says it's funny because he's also mentioning as a lifetime that he, as a life that he took in the southern India, he was not being Shiva. So I don't know how this story came from. So how people related later on that the person who was doing this was okay. So he has then become Shiva. So it's actually, the story is quite messed up, he says. So there's not a lot of clarity. And he's also mentioning the whole Sangam that you mentioned, the group of people who started this. That was a group in the first place. There were many.
Yeah, of course.
There were many heads even.
There were many kings, Pandya kings.
Yes, so the credit cannot be given to one person, he says.
Okay.
Neither can it be given to only him or another person. It was like a group effort.
But did he participate as one of the members at least?
Yes, in one of his lifetimes.
Yes.
He did.
So how nice, yeah. Okay, and so let's move on. Some Hindus believe that he is kind of Swayambhu, meaning he was just present he wasn't created, he was just present, and they believe that he could be, he was, or he is Akash or ether. So is he Akash or ether?
He's actually asking you, like, by saying that, do you mean playing the role of an observer? So he did that.
Okay. No, not that.
But
See, all pervading space, like ether, Akash. Or he's just like a huge ball of energy.
he's saying, I'm a fraction.
Sorry, he's a?
I'm a fraction. I'm a part of something. I'm a fraction of something.
Okay, he's a fraction of source. Source,
yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah, that's what he meant, I guess.
Oh,
because
okay.
when he's saying that, it's like he has a certain amount of everything, but he's not everything.
Of course.
That makes sense?
It does,
yes.
yeah.
That's what he was clarifying.
Yeah, he's a part and parcel of source. Yeah?
Yes.
A fraction, a fragment of source. Nice. Okay. Again, to go back to the Hindu trinity, the concept of the threesome, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Shiva is portrayed as the destroyer. Why is this association of destruction with Shiva's name? And what does he destroy? Ignorance, evil, or does he help with the destruction of the universe and then help with the transformation of the universe into probably its next stage?
So this is very interesting, because Erik was also chiming in with giving me all the images, and there was Shiva speaking. He almost is clarifying, again I'm saying, because that's why he mentioned in the beginning that there will be a lot of clarification,
yes.
Trying to change or clear misconceptions, because he says, I am not this person or entity who undertakes destruction, but I am sort of like a combined energy of a cycle which takes turn into an end of something, so that there can be a new beginning.
Okay, transformation.
Yes, transformation. So almost like a thought form. When we put too much energy into it, and when it is from a huge mass,
collective,
it
yes,
that's a better term. Yes. So that takes a thought form. So I'm sort of, I represent that.
Okay, good. Okay.
But if you ask me, am I the one, like, I give orders, okay, now this should be get done with.
Tear it down.
Shut it down.
Shut it down.
Yes.
Tear it down.
Take it down. That doesn't happen.
Okay.
It's almost like after a cycle, like everything in the universe, like sort of like people use the word shift of axis, or all sorts of things. It's deeper than just being a destructor. He says it's easier for human understanding to term a person, okay, he's the one who takes care of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So along the same lines, Brahma and Vishnu are also only in the minds of people as creator and preserver. So would they be actual entities, or are they just thought forms in the minds of Hindus?
Again, they are when it comes to I am not getting a yes for they being a separate entities. But when I asked him, are they thought forms? So then also I'm not getting a confirmation. It's almost like it's a thought which is given too much energy to over a period of time, which is like a thought form, but it's not even that strong, he says. Because mostly everything comes up to destruction and beginning. So it's the cycle which is more important, rather than the people or not the people or energies who are doing it. Actually, it's us who are taking care of it.
I know. Out of our devotion, human beings created, they just wanted clarity, because otherwise it would be sources, responsibilities, aspects would be far too much for them to grasp and to understand. So they had to, in our own limited sense, out of our devotion, we had to kind of, put them in boxes. Okay, Brahma is responsible for, creation. Vishnu for preservation, conservation, and Shiva for destruction. And poor Shiva got associated with, because often people don't even know the actual meaning of destruction unless and until, that
sometimes even destruction is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if it makes sense, because then only more light, more energy. If something doesn't end, it cannot. The other cannot happen. Also, when you were talking about people and them having a mindset. They're saying they've been taught over the ages to give the power to somebody else.
Oh.
So it's not destruction, even the creation. Like women give birth, they create. At the same time, man also has a role, and so on, and other things. So this whole cycle of creation and destruction is by us. That's why we have a physical life, including other beings, not just humans. All the beings, the trees and everything that has been created by source. So they just been taught to give the energy that he's taking care of it rather than themselves.
I know. We've been taught to believe in an external power rather than trusting God within us. We are God. Thank you, Shiva, for that clarification. In the concept of Ardhanarishwara, he has incorporated Shakti, or in the form of Kali, into his left side. So, was he really married to Parvati in a particular lifetime? Did he really marry Parvati?
He's actually smiling, or rather giggling. He says there was no concept of marriage then, he says, because it was not required. It was more of the connection.
Okay, all right.
Or the interdependence.
Okay, I know. One complementing the other.
Yes. And he's also clarifying about something. This whole concept of him being partial, one side of him being Kali. That was something he took up, as in, because it was necessary, because the message was going like the whole physicality or the masculine side is the only thing. So he had to show or depict that no, it's not the case. There is this yin and yang, the feminine and the masculine. And there's where all the stories began. Like he didn't actually, there was no role play, he says, but it was needed at a certain point of time.
Yeah, because I think for the longest time, humans have been patriarchal. So he probably wanted to, emphasize the importance of the feminine energy. So he gave it equal importance.
Yeah, Erik is actually chiming in. It was actually initially, when it was divided, but there were certain societies which were matriarchal. Because only women had the power to reproduce, which was almost like a biggest power. It was like more almost like the hunter-gatherer time, time. It was more of an equal, they'll take care of the kids and the chores, and the hunting was taken care by the men. But after that, there was a time which was, for quite a long period, matriarchal. Then the ego came in.
True.
So it was like coming and going. But now when we think that no, it was always patriarchal, which was not true.
Not always,
And still there are societies and tribes which is mainly matriarchal.
Yeah, true that.
Yes.
Even now, some families are matriarchal. Some families, a lot of decisions are made by the women the elderly women of the family.
Erik is going on a feminist procession or something. He has this plaque on "Hail Women" and all those things. He's shouting suddenly because I was feeling all feminist suddenly.
Me too, because I've taken back my power. Like, at least in the recent past, I've taken back my power, and I've always been a fiercely independent woman. So, not that I want to dominate, but then I believe in equality of men and women. Yes. For the in fact, ever since I've started working. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, why is the Lingam or the Phallus used as a symbol of Shiva?
Okay, so he's showing me, I don't know whether there was a time where that's how it is depicted in most of the mythological things, that there is this mountain where he sits and he meditates.
I'm coming to that, Kailash. Yeah, Mount
Yes.
Kailash.
No, I'm sorry, I'm very bad at mythology, so you'll have to help me.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to be telling whatever they give me, which is a good thing actually. So I will not be bringing in my own information.
Yes.
So he's actually showing me almost like a stone or a crystal which was abundant in that particular mountain.
Oh.
Which what they're showing me sort of looks like black tourmaline, if you know.
I know black tourmaline. Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, the shiny.
Yes.
It has, I don't know what it's called. It has like vertical lines.
I mean, this is a hematite.
This is like a polished one.
Yes.
Similar to that.
Yeah.
So he's showing me that was in abundance.
Yeah.
Where he used to meditate.
All right.
So he's actually saying two things. Firstly, crystals in itself had powers.
Yeah, they do.
Also, when he had a group of people who were following his whatever he used to tell them, or his knowledge was being given to other people, they started feeling that his energy was also present in the area where he used to meditate, which was true to a certain extent. But he's also clarifying, attaching his energy to and now he's coming to like the concept of idol worship. It's all about you giving energy to it.
Yes. I get it.
You know? So if it works for you, it's fine. He says he's not against the whole concept. But in itself, a crystal doesn't have any energy, or a stone doesn't have any energy if you don't believe.
Oh. I thought they had their own energy because they come from the bosom of Mother Earth. I work with crystals.
Crystals do have energy. He's talking about the belief. Like if a person gives you a rose quartz saying this would work for you, this would heal your heart. But if you don't believe it, you don't work on emotionally expressing yourself, it won't work. It's just a stone.
Yeah, it's your
So that's where the whole Shivalinga concept came. People started carving from the stone, and that's why most of the Shivalinga is, I guess, black in color.
True that.
If it makes sense.
Yeah, it is usually in black or in spatika. Spatika is clear quartz, I think.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's nice. And often in all of the Shiva temples, Nandi is given a prime place. You know, Nandi, the bull, he's given a prime place. So in fact, before you go into the sanctum sanctorum where the Shivalingam is kept, before that you have to pray to the Nandi is placed. So why is Nandi so significant? Was he, the bull, really his vehicle? When I went to Kailash, in fact, last year, this very time, I was at Kailash, August the 8th, and it was 18,000 something feet above sea level, and I was panting for breath, and I was chanting Om Shiva Shaktiye Namaha. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Because I reached finally and I looked at Kailash. I don't know, this is the dream of most Hindus, to climbed to Kailash to worship Shiva. I don't know why. It's a lifetime goal. For me, I don't know why. I just, felt like doing it. I did it out of devotion rather than as a challenge. I managed to do it, but with great difficulty. And when we were there in that part of, Nepal and Tibet, we saw yaks. So there, instead of Nandi, they had a yak sitting in front, because the yak has longish hair.
Yes.
And different facial features when compared to our South Indian bulls, buffalo. So we were thinking, the bunch of us that went to Pashupatinath temple in Nepal, Kathmandu, we were thinking, who knows, probably it was not the buffalo after all, it was a yak that was Shiva's vehicle. So what is the significance?
Yes, he's actually now talking about all the deities and their depicted vehicles. Like there are,
Shakti,
I guess,
Shakti has
Shakti
a lion, and Ganesha has a little mouse, a wise little mouse. Yeah.
So he's just telling us to think of the logic of each deity having a certain vehicle. Do they need them?
They don't.
Or is it because when these stories were being depicted, it was almost like he's actually showing me these people who have written these epic, I don't know whether it was in the Vedas.
Puranas.
Yes. So it's almost like they used to channel information at times.
Yes.
And also use their own imagination plus their knowledge, whatever they've been experiencing with these energies. So when they were channeling, it was almost like all these deities, all the energy from the universe putting into their ears that do include these beings as something important, so that the message goes out that humans are not the only one who is required on earth. So it was easier. It was easier to make a person respect a being when it is termed as something related to a god.
Of course, yeah. The association makes the animals respectful, lovable, worshipable, perhaps.
Yes. So that was the easiest way. That's why this whole depiction of each god or goddess having these vehicles. It's not necessary. And he says, not that you can't imagine me sitting on a tiger. I can do that. It's all about, in incorporating all the beings into the mythology, which lost the meaning while it was being spread. Yes, over time.
Yeah.
The whole concept was this.
Very interesting. So he didn't choose the bull, but human beings depicted the bull as his vehicle. Yeah.
Yes.
That's nice.
He says, he also says, it actually made more sense of the bull or the yak to say so. It was almost like a wild bull because he was spending most of his time when these stories were being written on the mountains or the hills. So bulls were more in number, or they might have been the abundant species over there.
True that.
Also, they used to look, obviously, you can imagine, if it has to make sense. Like, we can imagine Ganesha sitting on a mouse because Ganesha is all about this cuteness and, innocent energy. And Ganesha is mostly depicted as a child of, another deity, or Shiva, or however it comes. But when it comes to Shiva, it's a strong energy. So bull has a certain strength and a masculinity.
True that.
Yes.
True.
So that's why that species was chosen.
Yeah, people associated the bull with him. I understand.
Yeah.
By the way, on the topic of Ganesha, is Ganesh an actual entity that we could interview? Could you ask him?
Yes, he says.
Yes. I love Ganesha too. He always blesses me. Okay. I close my eyes. I get the Lingam here, or I get Shakti's face here, or I get Ganesha's trunk blessing me. Yeah. So,
He said Ganesha is almost like an ascended master, sort of like how Krishna is.
okay, we'll interview them, definitely. Okay, because there are interesting stories about Ganesha too. We'll ask him that. Now I have tons of questions for Shiva and Kali. Okay, and so he actually meditated on Mount Kailash. Okay, does he still meditate there?
He says, I do through people.
Sorry?
I do meditate through people.
Through people, okay. So does he...
Almost like people having his energy, bringing him in, and because he's again mentioning he's like an observer now.
Okay, so year after year, people, of course, this year because of Corona, people haven't been climbing to Kailash. But then year after year, lakhs, millions of people, climb to Kailash and meditate, looking at the mountain Kailash. So, so does it mean that his blessings are with us when we are up there more than when we are, on land, praying to him or thinking of him, asking for his help sometimes? Yes, we have God inside of us, yes, but then lots of people do pray to Shiva, asking for help, asking for blessings, so many things. So does it mean that his blessings are more easily gotten when they are up there at Kailash than ordinarily?
He says no. I mean, the place doesn't matter.
Okay.
The intent does, he says. He just used the word intent.
As usual.
But, he says, but certain areas have certain energies, like the sea has its own energy. So, why people feel sort of like an exhilaration or something sort of like a newness or a rebirth.
Upsurge of energy. Yeah.
They do feel it because of the geographical position of those areas.
Okay.
Just like there are portals around the world, like there's a very famous place, Sedona. A lot of people, Sedona, I guess it's in
Arizona.
the US.
Arizona. I've been there.
Sedona, Sedona.
I've been there.
Oh, you've been there, Arizona? Yes, yes.
I did my PhD in Phoenix. So for my graduation, the whole family had come and we went to Sedona.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of open portals there. The energy is quite strong. So same applies to, the energies might be different in the mountains.
Manasarovar again, the area surrounding Lake Manasarovar, which is at almost the foothills of Kailash, is again high in vibration,
Yes.
and as does the climb, the path to Kailash. The vibration.
And he's also mentioning over the period when a lot of, this whole thought process of people putting energy to a certain area that changes the energy in good and bad ways. But that's also the reason why people feel that high. Yes, that's what he mentioned, high vibration, or literally the high. They feel good, and even though physically they might be tired with all the journey, but that's an experience in itself. Not because there's Shiva, not only because there's Shiva only in there, but because of all these various reasons.
Okay, the portals. Why is Kailash so mystical? Should we take it up in a different interview? Kailash is, no, except for probably one or two people, no one has ever managed to climb Kailash. And there are so many, legends revolving around Mount Kailash that when you try to climb it, you age very fast, and whatever, your nails would grow long, and God knows, you would age very, very quickly. So there are many, mystical things about Mount Kailash. So probably we'll explore it. Or would he like to share some?
He's just mentioning Kailash, like many other, if I'm not wrong, Kailash is in the Himalayan range.
It is in the Himalayan
range.
Right now.
So there are many mountains. Yes, go ahead.
Right now it's in Tibet, okay. Which belongs to China.
Okay. So he's mentioning it's not just Kailash. It's many mountains who have a certain kind of almost like they have an entity of their own. They are an entity of their own.
Life of their own.
Because of the terrain, because of people who have made attempts to climb it in the past, their experiences. So it's almost mix of everything. And this aging concept, he says, definitely the body changes, but I don't know how much aging, if aging happens, but he says because of the low levels of oxygen, so there has to be something almost like a person is working too hard
to climb
every moment to climb, than when he is away from that area. He's on a lower sea level or like
planes.
Yes, but he's denying the fact, like the nails growing or like age, physical. Erik says like physical visibility of aging doesn't happen.
Okay. Okay.
But it does affect the body.
I get it. Okay. Because legend says again, or folklore say, that Shiva lives on Mount Kailash with his Bhuta Ganas. Bhuta would be what? Bhutas would be what? Scary entities. Entities, and a whole bunch of them. Gana would be a whole bunch of. So was he really the head of Bhuta Ganas? I don't think so, but people must have depicted him to be the head of Bhuta Ganas.
He says that whole concept comes from, he is more wild looking. If you see, he has long hair.
Matted hair, actually.
Erik says he's not the groomed one.
Yeah, matted hair and...
matted hair. Yeah. He's messy. He's not the one who will wear all the shiny Indian outfits, how he's depicted.
I know.
For people to think that is not a beautiful way a person should be, or that, so it is related to the monstrous or the wild side of a person. So that's why the connotation.
The association. Okay, thank you so much.
Association. Otherwise, it's not how he was.
I know, he's Karunakara. I love him. Okay. There's also, myth which believes that he used to smoke cannabis or cannabis, I don't know how you pronounce it, or marijuana. I hope I'm saying it right, marijuana. Marijuana. So is that right? Did he really do that when he was meditating?
He said, I and many others tried all the plant medicine, because he's also saying he spent some time with the sage community.
Okay.
The sages who lived in the jungles, which makes sense because he was out in the jungles or caves maybe. So he was obviously, the life in there would have caused him certain illnesses or wounds. So he has experienced a lot of plant medicine with their healing properties. So marijuana was one of them.
So Siddhas, did he live with Siddhas? So Siddha medicine, it's similar to Ayurveda, but have you heard of Siddhas?
Yes, I have, but he's actually mentioning it was not named then, if it makes sense.
I know what you mean. Yes.
Maybe some sages would have gathered some knowledge and they made it into Ayurveda.
They passed it on. Yeah.
Yes.
So now we have given the name Siddha medicine, but in those days it was just plant medicine.
Yes.
Thank you, Shiva, for the clarification. And again, it's believed that on the night of Mahashivratri is, we get 12 Shivratris a year. It's the, particular day of the moon cycle is Shivratri. But Mahashivratri...
the longest?
Yeah.
The longest?
Mahashivratri usually falls in the month of Feb or March. because the Hindu calendar sometimes changes. So sometime in the month of Feb or March, we get the Mahashivratri. On that particular day, there's a huge upsurge of energy in the Earth's atmosphere. So that's the reason why people stay awake all night, and because they want to keep their spine straight in order to absorb all the energy into their chakras. Is there any... what led people to believe?
He is actually saying it is a combination of two things. One, like any other planetary cycles or days, like the solar eclipse or the lunar eclipse, or all these changes in the planets, those particular dates or days have an effect on human body.
Okay.
That's why it was associated with fasting, or changing your food habits, or
true
to whatever extent is comfortable. That's how it came up.
Yes.
Also, he's actually mentioning, which makes very much sense, because I've heard this before also. Certain, just like how we have positive energies, we have negative ones too.
Okay. Yeah.
So it comes from a set of sages or people who went the other way into the whole knowledge of black magic or the voodoo, or all those things. So during these times, because a lot of even the negative things like witchcraft or black magic, or witchcraft can be both though. There is, as far as I know, there is things done for positive also. Same way. So all the negative energies or rituals also had certain things to be done on these certain days. So the good or the learned people who used to know, they used to avoid sleeping during these hours. Why? Because when we sleep, we are at the least resistant space. So almost like we are like a child. We are very much, things can be done to us.
Helpless.
Nothing to like.
Helpless state.
Helpless. Yes. It's almost like, not exactly helpless. We do not resist things because we are resting and our subconscious is active. So that's why the whole waking up throughout Mahashivratri concept came up.
Okay.
So you would try not to sleep or rest during these hours, and try to meditate or sing the hymns and bring in positivity during these certain hours. But he says it doesn't matter if it's all about the belief again. If you're physically ill, you need rest.
Okay.
So so you have to follow these things. He said it's person to person. It's very subjective. At the same time, use your logic. And here Erik is also chiming in, almost like if you need rest and if you wake up throughout Mahashivratri, Shiva is not going to help you heal.
I know.
So but he was just explaining how these concepts came in, and how the fasting and being awake through the night and singing and all those things came up.
I get it. Again, folklore believes that sounds came up. Of course, I know it's folklore, it cannot be real, but just confirming, sounds came when he played the damaru. The damaru is the two-headed drum. Two-headed drum, like two conical shapes, whatever. So when he played the damaru, the sounds that came out became either Sanskrit or Tamil. So was he fond of the damaru when, during his incarnations on the earth plane? The damaru. Did he really play the damaru?
He's actually showing me, does the damaru have, this is me asking, does the damaru have animal skin on top, just like many other instruments? Leather. So he's, because why he mentioned that is because you can relate it to him spending time in the forest. So he played a lot of instruments, not just the damaru.
Okay.
But he says he's using the term handy. So that was quite handy. So that was something that when he traveled, he took it.
Okay.
So that's why he's associated more to the Damru.
Okay.
But he's denying the concept of those languages.
Arising out of the sounds of the Damru.
Yes.
Okay.
And he's almost questioning, where are these stories coming?
Oh, there are lots more. There are lots more.
Yes.
I'm just touching the tip of the iceberg.
Yes.
There's tons of stories about him. And okay, again, those who think of you as source and worship you, you are their be all and end all. What happens to them? Will they still go to heaven and go to your area where you reside in heaven? I know he's going to be all over the place, but then will they still kind of retain? Of course, we've been told in the earlier interview that it was meant to be. It was contracted to be that they'll be devotees of Shiva. So, what benefits will you offer them, Shiva, if they are your ardent devotees?
He says it's not that he says we, like maybe he and all the other entities or the deities or the ascended masters or even the angels or spirit guides.
Yeah.
We haven't been assigned these roles as to, these set of people are coming, they used to follow you on earth, so you take care of them. That doesn't happen. The concept dissolves everything, though all those things dissolves as within, he's saying in human terms, within seconds of you stepping into
heaven, the source,
heaven, or whichever place you say, or light, or the crossing over within seconds of us. So it's quite fast. Okay. So even the questions a person has, the belief system, to keep them away from the shock aspect, they are shown generally. That's what Erik has always taught. Like some people see white light, some people see Christ, or some people see something else. Some people see a dark black hole.
Their loved ones coming to receive them.
Yes, and loved ones do come in because they make us comfortable, especially when people are in shock, so that they make the journey easy. Yeah. So some people see like a dark, like a blackout, and because they had a lot of fear with death.
Yes, yeah.
So all these concepts come in.
It's their belief system. Yeah.
Yes. So as soon as that phase is over, all these concepts dissolve. So there's not like a set of people coming in, and then they will be dealing with, okay, I was not an ardent fan of Shiva, so now you'll have to be. No, that doesn't happen. That's not how the universe works, he says.
For instance, before they take their last breath, if they keep chanting Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, then will Shiva really come to receive them? Because their intention is to be received or to go to Shiva. So will he really come down to receive that soul?
He says, if that was my given assignment for the day. If that makes sense.
Where does intention go?
He says, yes, intention does play, but he's saying like it's a tiny thing.
Okay.
Almost like because of the concept that Shiva in itself is a tiny aspect of everything that a person would discover as soon as he steps in.
Yeah.
Within seconds.
Yeah, he's been so humble. Okay. So whenever people pray to him, it's actually themselves who manifest their own prayers by putting the prayers out into the universe.
Yeah, and it does work because when done with a positive intent, prayer, however, whether it's for Christ or whether it's a spiritual prayer to our own guides, the intent matters.
Intent matters. Okay.
Yes.
And Shiva, when we think of yoga, we think of you. So why do people associate yoga, all those asanas, with you? Why the connection?
He says, he's associating with the times that he spent in the jungle, but he's also clarifying that I'm not the only one. Most of the asanas is actually, it came from
Patanjali,
animals.
animal postures. But
Yes, animal postures. Even the names are from various animals.
yes, true that. Yeah, the
Yes.
cat cow. So Patanjali, what's the connection between yoga and you and Patanjali? Was he the first one to give yoga to the world? And did you do yoga yourself, watching the animals, their postures?
He's almost showing like there were many sages who used to perform or learn or discover these things and how it worked on their body. But Patanjali was amongst the few who made a written
Script. Who scripted
script or recorded it in
recorded.
written form,
Okay.
which worked.
Okay.
Eric says which worked for him. So,
Yeah.
So he was not the only one who discovered those things or practiced, but he became famous because he was the.
Okay. He documented.
For documentation also there were many who did that, but maybe he was more precise.
Okay.
Or
right.
Yes, it was the saved texts.
Okay.
Were from Patanjali. Yes.
Yeah. So yoga asanas do have their physical, spiritual, mental, emotional benefits. They do.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yes. Oh, good. Okay. So you and I teach yoga. So we are doing some good to people. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good to do good, right? What would be his message to humanity at this point in time, especially the COVID times? What would be his message?
He's mentioning destruction again. The whole concept of destruction, because whatever is happening in the world, it feels like a destruction. It feels like a mass suffering for many in various ways, physically, mentally, financially, otherwise. A lot of numerous families being affected. But at the same time, he's saying this is not something that is gonna go on. It's just a phase.
Okay.
Like many other phases, it doesn't feel so at present.
I know.
But it is just a phase.
Yeah.
It might seem longer, but he and Eric is also chiming in. He says, "Hang in there. It has to be a certain way. It has to be like how it is.
True.
There is a reason."
True that. Yeah. Okay. So to hang in there and not to lose faith. That's his message.
Not to lose faith, not to lose hope.
Would he like to share something with us that human beings would like to know about him? Something
About
that we
him?
haven't, about him. Of course, he is not aware of all the legends and the stories that are going around about him, but all lovely, loving, born out of devotion. Yeah. He would be amazed if only he listened to all of them.
He's actually, I don't know if it's just about him or this is his last message that he wants people to know. He wants people to embrace the masculine and the feminine
together
with the same love, which includes love for all beings, compassion for all beings,
animals too.
Yes, from the filthiest of insects or the reptilians to the trees, or even things which are the rocks, which are very difficult to feel compassion for.
Only cockroaches I avoid. All other animals I preserve.
That's why maybe he mentioned the filthiest ones. So that's his message, compassion for all, embracing the masculine and feminine within yourself, not having resistance to any of your emotions. That's his message. And also, this is Eric and him talking. The awareness that Corona has brought, which is yet not being identified by a lot of people, is it's high time we see what's going inside our bodies.
Yes, okay.
Whether it is in terms of the medicines that we take, whether it is in terms of the food, whether it is in terms of our environment we live in, the amount of chemicals we use, what we do to the environment.
What we
It's
do
high
to
time.
Mother Earth.
Absolutely. Mother Earth and what we get in return. It's high time we bring our attention inward and see if this is happening in such a huge level. There has to be a reason.
Of course, yeah.
So working on that, being more aware and thankful, having gratitude for little things and all those awareness. That would go a long way, Erik says.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, I give gratitude to my water, to the food, most of the times. And to, well, I give gratitude for so many things. Before I settle down for meditation, I ask my students also to give gratitude. First, a couple of deep breaths, and then give gratitude to a couple of things in your life, and then we go into our meditation. So that's what people should do. Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much, Shiva. Namaste once again. I love you. Thank you so much for sharing all this information with us. And thank you.
He says, I'm glad that you guys reached out. It was fun, he says. He didn't say it, but it was almost like being given an opportunity to clarify stuff.
Yes, yeah. Is he, do you see him clothed today? Do you see his form, or just feel his energy?
I just see him, not even his chest, above his chest. It's almost like an energy, but I can definitely see his face, which was very innocent looking.
Yeah, Karunakara.
It sort of feels like this huge entity.
Okay.
The energy, yes.
Okay.
So that's a visual that I'm getting.
Yeah, so I shall try to retain that visual. So thank you so much once again, Shiva. Thank you. And thank you, Erik, for being with us today. And
both of them are saying you're welcome.
Okay,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you, lovely. It's been wonderful. You're such a wonderful medium. Friends, please check out Lovely at thelovelylife.in.